So I just got done watching the trailer, you guys, for Lightfall, the launch trailer, and I gotta say I'm kind of mind blown. I'm gonna be releasing a video on that as well alongside this one. But this week at Bungie, we have the final TWAB before Lightfall, 223-23. This week at Bungie, we're sharing a lot of information with all you all, mostly because we're as hyped as everyone else, but also because Lightfall is launching in less than 5 days. That leaves us with about checks clock, does the math, checks with Google because I'm bad with numbers, less than 118 hours by the time this is live. It's enough time to tell you one or two more things though, or several. So let's start with what's on the menu today. Get ready for the new Lightfall trailer. We just watched that. Did you read the Bringing Challenge Back to Destiny? I honestly read that. Or I guess I haven't really read it personally. I watched a streamer read it, that sort of thing. Crucible updates going live with Lightfall. Okay, so Crucible. I mean, they're finally touching on it. I had a hunch that they were going to be doing something like this because it doesn't make any sense for them to not address PvP at all. Because there's been people that have even been migrating away from it, playing it less and less and less, and they want change. They want it to be a different environment in Lightfall. New details on mod customization, loadouts, guardian ranks, and commendations. A preview of the Season 20 artifact perks. I saw someone post about this. I haven't read them yet because I want to know what they do firsthand and get my own gut reaction to them. An update on the Legendary campaign. Fun. The Witch Queen free weekend kicks off today. Fun. Prime Gaming Rewards reminder. Updates from our beautiful Destiny support team. Some of our community's outstanding creations. Also, here's what we talked about the previous week that you should check out if you totally haven't. Okay, I've already looked at all of this. It's all good stuff, but I would definitely check into this if you haven't already. New trailer coming today. Okay, yeah, we just watched this. It being 2 p.m. Mountain Time here. The live stream begins at 1 p.m. PST. Check your local time here. Have fun the hard way. This week, the World Systems team shared an overview of the changes coming to several activities. Long story short, Destiny 2 is getting harder, not only for those of you who love to solo Grandmaster Nightfalls, but also for those who love the kind of challenges that power level disadvantages bring to the table. Those are here to stay. Here's a quick recap. We explained surges, threats, and overcharges, kind of bonus damage pretty much. Strike refreshes and a new Vanguard Ops scoring system, which is lovely. Power level disadvantages will make Nightfalls more challenging. Lost sectors, raids, dungeon, and more PvE activities will be more challenging on Legend and Master difficulties. This is good. Hopefully they increase like the drop rate because of that, or make it more likely. That stuff drops because if they're increasing it and it doesn't increase the drop rate at all, then it's going to be kind of, I think a lot of people are just going to avoid playing them that much or grinding them if they, if they don't want the additional challenge or they really want to speed run it quickly because who wants worse drop chance or the same drop chance with higher time commitment? There are a few things we didn't make completely clear in the articles, so we updated it with some additional info. We saw the feedback and realized that we totally missed some of the reward changes coming to Nightfalls and Lock sectors, as well as some additional info on burns versus threats and surges. Go read updated article now. Okay, we'll read this eventually. Rank up Guardian, making your in-game merits more obvious and giving others the opportunity to say nice things about how you played surely must feel nice. That's why Guardian ranks and commendations are crucial additions to Destiny 2. We're also revamping the build crafting experience for all players with our new mod customization system and giving everyone the ability to create and switch builds on the fly with the addition of in-game loadouts. We know you might have some questions about how these new quality of life systems work, so we've got some more details from the team over on the PlayStation blog today. The Crucible beckons. We know you're waiting for more news regarding the Crucible. We have a few quick bits to share before launch and then later in the season. We'll have the bigger article with more details on playlist changes coming with Lightfall and later, adjustments to competitive progression and rewards, and changing to how matchmaking will work in the near future. Next week, the competitive division freelance node is going away as we believe Fireteam matchmaking is solving the problem it was originally intended to solve in a much healthier way. This will merge the player populations into one larger, healthier pool while still protecting smaller fire teams from getting stomped by larger, more coordinated groups. That is good because I'm glad they came up with a system for this in that it's not going to be all of this, like you're either 3-stacked or you're all solo type of thing. Like, I mean, you should be able to, if you don't have 3 people, you should be able to go into these things and not be at a disadvantage inherently just because of fire team size. Competitive quality of life changes coming to Destiny 2. Placement changes. You can now place in Platinum Division after your initial placement series matches if you were Adept or Ascendant in the previous season. This is good because before they were saying on how you were only going to be gold, be able to place gold, and that would be more likely depending on your previous season's placement, and that just, I feel like it was too easy to get into gold, and more range will make it so that it's better matchmaking at the beginning of seasons. Mode and map waiting. While we understand not everyone loves Rift and Showdown, we believe that these two modes stress Crucible players in different and important ways, and that a variety of kill and objective modes makes for a healthier ladder. However, we are lowering how common Rift and Showdown come up on in play. While RNG can give any sequence of maps and modes, we expect Survival to show up roughly 2/3 of the time, and Rift and Showdown to split the other 1/3. Because I know that people really, I don't know, they don't like Rift. Showdown is kind of, honestly, I'm indifferent about it because all that people do in Showdown is run 3-stacked and Deathball, and it doesn't really prove any sort of skill, to be honest. In the limited amount of time I've played, it's happened in almost every Showdown match. We have also adjusted the individual map weightings for Showdown to eliminate maps the modes does not play well on. Overall, we have increased the weight of Jav 4, Endless Veil, and Altar Flame in competitive division and removed Disjunction and Cathedral Just from the rotation entirely. I'm kind of sad about this because, yeah, Disjunction doesn't play very well, but Cathedral of Dusk, even though it's a bigger map, the lanes aren't necessarily that big, and the fighting lanes are nowhere near as big as Disjunction. Like, the problem I have with Disjunction is that it's way too open, so you just equip a Mida or equip a Scout or whatever else, or a Jade Rabbit, and you just go ham because you can't get shot from the back of the map. As of the start of Season 20, you can gild the Glorious title by reaching the Adept Division, as well as a number of other Crucible triumphs. Makes sense. Exotic armor pieces can be just as critical to your PvP build as your weapons of subclass aspects or fragments. A popular move has always been to have a powerful neutral game exotic on during PvP while your super is building, then swap to a super enhancing exotic once your super is full, then swapping back to the neutral game exotic. This tends to favor players who have higher end PCs and can get in and out of menus faster, and we generally don't want to encourage a bunch of menu gameplay during action. We also find it an uninteresting way to gain an advantage in PvP. With the prevalence of build swapping that can happen with loadouts, we thought we would squash this issue in high-end PvP. In Season 20, our introducing the not swap modifier to Trials of Osiris and competitive division. In activities with not swap, if you change your exotic armor during the match, all of your ability energy is removed, just like if you swapped your subclass. We will be monitoring gameplay and community discussion around this issue, but we are not currently planning on adding it to Gambit or other Crucible playlists. I mean, Gambit's not even this is not a Crucible playlist. Like, I'm sorry. Even though they have an invading and PvP function in it, half the time, like, you don't even have, you know, people that are like contesting you fighting them. You're equipping Eyes of Tomorrow, you're equipping Gallahorn, you're equipping a Linear, you know, to just snipe. You're equipping Xenophage to snipe across the map to players that if they don't have the weapon or if they don't have a clue where you are, which is, you know, the purpose of invading is being able to be stealthy and get stealth kills. and quick kills, then they're not going to have any sort of shot at beating you. But I like this change. This is very radical. But to be honest with you, this kind of goes back to me to like when Geomegs were a thing. People would literally get 3/4 super, run around with those things, get their super, swap to another exotic, and still retain their super energy. Obviously, let me read this again. All of your ability energy is removed. So yeah, it's not super energy. That would be way too drastic. I do think that, like, this leans towards what I think, should have happened, is that you can't swap your exotic. But obviously they don't want to have that limitation, which I can also understand, because, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe the exotic you're using or maybe the build you're using just isn't very good, and you want to swap to a different one that's more effective, against the team you're playing, which encourages smart, high-level skill play. But this is good because most of the time, if you don't have any ability energy at the beginning of a round, you're going to be at an inherent disadvantage to somebody that's keeping their. And I mean, I do get it, high NPCs, and that sort of thing. So it's like they're just kind of. I wouldn't say they're nerfing PC players by any means, but it's, it is kind of necessary. I myself have a really fast PC. I can swap really easily in under 5 seconds, type of thing. So I completely get it. Let's move on. More details to come in a Crucible blog post this season. Until then, go make Shaxx proud and get ready to build and save your perfect PvP loadout next week. So that's the only thing on PvP. So it's a little bit less than I'm sure a lot of people are going to have. But, at least it's something. It doesn't encourage, the swapping of these exotics. And I mean, I just wonder, I guess, what exotics people use. I'm not that big of a PvP player. I only ever run like one exotic, to be honest. But, it definitely seems like a pretty good change. Embrace the passive artifact. So we know that with this, we're not going to be able to have every single mod unlocked, but every mod we do unlock is just passive. We don't have to insert it into our armor anymore, which is really nice. The seasonal artifact has been with us for a while now, and we have adjusted its functionalities to better suit how you face some of the most challenging activities in Destiny 2 and to spice up the meta a bit each season. We're making several improvements to it in Lightfall, starting with the following. Artifact mods are now artifact perks. So yeah, it's like a buff to you. These are passive, and you don't have to slot them into armor pieces. Once you unlock an artifact perk, it automatically applies to your garden, which is, amazing. 12 perks are unlockable for your character. To be honest with you, this is kind of nuts to me because, like, me and my bounty prep, even for this season, I've only done, like, I haven't done that many, like, I guess, dailies so far, but I've done every single one, and it already tells me that I'm projected to have around 10 artifact unlocks on, for day one, if I choose to just turn in all my bounties type of thing. You can reset the artifact at no cost any number of times. This is good because the way they had it before was a bunch of glimmer, and it's like, with the way glimmer is now, and that you don't have easy resources to trade in for glimmer, if you're a bounty hoarder or you're a bounty grinder and you're doing a bunch of 3K repeatables or something, you're just, you're just you run out of glimmer, even if you're at like a max of 250,000. The anti-champion weapons featured on the artifact can also be overcharged in higher difficulty activities. This is good. To accommodate these changes, Artifice Armor now has a unique mod slot that grants 3 additional points to a character stat of your choice. This is pretty much because when you masterwork it, you're getting +2, and then so you can have a bonus of +5, technically, if you choose to masterwork, and depending on the trait you want to give it to. This change is retroactive to all Artifice Armor. That makes sense. But why tell you when we can show you? Here's what the Ascendant Scepter brings to the table for Season 2. Ascendant Scepter? Cool. That sounds really, really neat. Ascendant Scepter, that means I feel like we're going to be going into the Ascendant Realm or something, this next season, and we haven't talked about the Ascendant Realm at all, in any of the trailers, and we haven't really seen it at all. But column 1 is anti-barrier sidearms. Cool. I love this. I love sidearm anti-barrier. Sidearms are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Anti-barrier pulse rifles. I love pulse rifles more than scouts. Don't ask me why. I'm just a pulse rifle abuser, I guess. Your equipped pulse rifles fire shield piercing rounds and stun barrier champions. Additionally, pulse rifles are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Overload bows. I love this. It makes it so you can use things like Tikus, Trinity Ghoul, and stuff in your GMs. I do think it's kind of redundant though sometimes, because Le Monarch is obviously a really, really good, bow that has inherent overload. Unstoppable Scouts, they had this season. Automatics, overload, auto and submachine guns. So they're really not changing it from this season. These are like all the same besides sidearms. I'm trying to think. So we have pulse. I guess, we don't have bow. I mean, okay, so Unstoppable, I guess, is limited to Scouts when it was also on hand cannon this season, or Scouts were overload. So they're just kind of swapping some of the weapons around. Like we didn't have bows this last season, and we didn't have sidearms. But Pulse, Scout, and SMG and auto rifle, that type of thing. So this is really neat. I do think it's a good variety of weapons, but we'll see. There might be more things that are higher points in different columns. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in each column, of course. But authorized mods, solar, the armor, energy costs of all armor mods affecting your solar weapons are significantly discounted. This is interesting. This makes for a lot more specific builds. I actually really like this. It's really cool. They have Strand, Void, grenades. The armor energy involved strand weapons are significantly discounted. Interesting. Authorized mods, Void. The armor energy costs of all armor mods affecting your Void weapons are significantly discounted. Cool. Authorized mods, grenades. The armor energy. Okay. Multi-siphon mods grants access to armor mods in your helmet that combine the effects of the Strand Siphon mod with the Solar Siphon mod and the Void Siphon mods. Okay. There's a lot here. I guess, I don't know. I'm looking at this and I'm kind of like, what do I think? I think it's cool. I mean, it seems like, they're giving each column its own identity at this point. Obviously, column 1 has always been anti-champion, but column 3 is Shatter Orbs. The first time you break a combatant's shield, you create an overpower. If you break the shield with the matching damage type, that's cool. Defiant Armory greatly improves the benefits provided by the Noble Deeds. Nanotech Tracer Rockets, Text Balance Stocked, and Ambush Origin traits. So they're keeping so you're going to be able to use Text Balance Stock, which is from the Spire dungeon, and then Ambush Origin traits are all the seasonal weapons from this year, which I think is cool. I think it honestly peeves me when they only do it for a season and you never hear from those types of things again. But yeah, just make a little bit more ability, make it combine with something else that it's like. Nanotech Tracer Rockets is definitely new. Noble Deeds, definitely new. We don't know what either of these do, but this is cool. Defiant Armory. Untangler. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon suspends targets damaged by the explosion. So this is kind of confirming that we're going to have strand weapons, because even when Beyond Light was released, we really didn't have any. The only the only stasis weapon we had was Salvation's Grip, which who cares about Salvation's Grip? I'm sorry, Salvation's Grip. You're really bad. Solar Surge, collecting a fire spray gives you armor charge. Armor charge is the new... I'm trying to remember what armor charge is. I think armor charge is like the new charged with light. I'm pretty sure. So it's like, instead of charged with light, we're doing armor charge, which works in a little bit of a different way than, charged with light. Volatile flow, picking up an orb of power grants your void weapons volatile rounds. This is really cool. I've always liked volatile, and volatile's really, really strong, and it's really, really fun. And I don't think it's too overpowered. You have to lay in a good number of bullets, to most things in order to get them volatile to have them explode, and it's not like they just automatically die, or explode and blow up everything around them. Column 4, the fun column. Bricks from Beyond. Defeating a powerful combatant with a void weapon has a chance to generate heavy ammo for you and your teammates. Kind of interesting. You wonder what the percentage of this is. I can think of, a few things where it's it's got to be kind of high because it's obviously a powerful combatant. I'm assuming yellow bar and higher. And, I guess maybe not, though, because, it does have to... It's only a void weapon. It doesn't have to be any sort of special thing. And, there's plenty of good void weapons in the game. Flare up. Firebolt grenades apply more scorch stacks. Damaging a combatant with a firebolt grenade spawns a fire sprite near them. This is really good. I think firebolt grenades are slept on. I think that they're a really easy way to apply quick scorch and guaranteed scorch. Obviously this doesn't work in PvP. I think firebolts can be really good in PvP because they activate pretty quick and it's an automatic hit should they be in the vicinity. Origin hones, weapons with the noble deeds, nano tracing rockets, text balance stock, and ambush origin traits are always overcharged when that modifier is active. This is really interesting. I really like this. So, this probably goes back to when they said that damage is going to be interesting when they had changed linears, obviously. You're looking at this and the interesting thing about this is that it's going to make the aggressive frame linear from this season a lot more coveted. So if you don't have it, I always forget what it's called. Let me see here. We'll load this up real quick and we'll look at the linear that I'm talking about. Okay, this one. Yep, Fire and Forget. So this one obviously has Ambush. It also has Viced. You would be more likely inclined in the past to use Vice Stinger for more shots, and that sort of thing. Ambush, though, is, more damage, 10%, nearly 11%, against PvE combatants. I guess linears are only a 9%. That's still a pretty big buff. If you're putting boss spec on this, then you're getting around 15% bonus damage. And that's not to include the fact that on this weapon you can get things like Vorpal. You stick Vorpal on here, heavy weapons are 10%. You're actually looking at a pretty significant damage number that actually kind of counters the nerf that they're going to receive, because the nerf they're getting, I'm pretty sure, is 20%. So if you're running, Vorpal, and then you're also getting Ambush, which, looks like it's going to be easy to proc. And, you can obviously, on this gun, I'd be running, field prep for additional ammo reserves, and that sort of thing. You can have a gun that, is going to be doing, a good amount of damage. Chill clip, you could use. I just am going by, I guess, a numbers game. But, Fire and Forget looks like it's going to be a weapon that you're going to want to have next year. It is obviously the only stasis aggressive frame linear as well. And it does have a good perk pool. So, that's actually, just looking at this, it's going to make, the overcharge, which is bonus damage and that sort of thing. It's going to make that sort of linear good. So maybe, maybe this is what we're going to see in the future, is that you're going to have, a specific linear and combo it correctly in order to make it useful or something, or make it as good as it used to be. Because, like, to be honest, I was glad when linears were nerfed, and they obviously, they needed a nerf. Like, there's not really anything else that competes with them besides, like, G-Horn, Fox, Wolfpack rounds with, legendary, rockets. It's just, and I mean, it's kind of brain dead to be, running that. No offense to anybody that likes it. I like it too, but it's, we need some room for, like, GLs and machine guns, honestly. Maybe not on the super high end, but, moving on. That's kind of my take on this. Allied Unraveling. Rapid final blows with a strand weapon grant your weapon unraveling rounds with a longer duration near allies. Unraveling rounds, I'm assuming is... I think I know what these are. I've heard, I've read, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Unraveling rounds are like bonus damage that I can't remember exactly what they do. But yeah, when you're near allies, so this is going to be more, I mean, and who knows what we're getting. I mean, if we're actually getting strand weapons right away, I'm really excited about that, because I think that was one thing that they dropped the ball on when they released stasis, is that we didn't have any stasis guns. We didn't have stasis guns for, like, I think it was like 2 seasons. It was the final 2 seasons of Beyond Light, which is just kind of weird, right? It's like, it's supposed to be the strand release, and it's supposed to be a new subclass release and that sort of thing, and it's just, this is good. If they didn't really have that many strand weapons, I would just be like, what is going on? Counterweave. When you remember your far team stuns or defeats a champion, you gain energy for your least charged strand ability. It's cool. I mean, they're just giving a little bit more to strand, so people will want to use it. Kind of like a elemental will type thing, I'm assuming. Column 5, another fun column. Stranded Reach. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion. Okay. I'm pretty sure we just talked about tangles up here, right? Or no, those are unraveling rounds. Okay, never mind. I'm trolling. Rain of Firebolts. When you have Firebolt grenades equipped, gain a second grenade charge. That's actually really fun. They must be doing this because Firebolt just isn't really used that much. It used to be really OP in D1. Like, you would just be one tap if you got hit by a Firebolt grenade or Arc Bolt grenade. I mean, any sort of bolt grenade was really OP in D1. And they nerfed it in this game for good reason, because honestly, they're just way too strong in D1. This is really unique. Maybe we'll be able to apply, I guess depending on your class and that sort of thing. I mean, I could see this really working with, like, Caliban's Hand. You could really make this work with... you could make this work with any sort of subclass. This actually, makes me think that, like, it could be really OP with foil, assuming they don't nerf it. I mean, we're not to the end of this. They could easily, say, oh yeah, we're nerfing foil and this is what we're doing. Void weapons channeling. You gain a temporary bonus to void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a void weapon while at least one of your void abilities is fully charged. This damage bonus increases based on the number of fully charged void abilities you have. This sounds like we're going to be in a void meta based on this. Like, you're going to be able to equip your Taipan, your crafted linear, fusion rifle, and depending on this, like, you're not going to want to just spam your abilities all the time, which maybe this is another thing that they're doing to counteract, the ability spam, because in PvE, ability spam is, still very prevalent, and they haven't really touched it too much, besides what is just overly OP. And, you're still talking about a lot of abilities flying around in PvE, making it really easy and not that much gunplay. So, it looks like they're trying to shift it, via the artifact as well, which is, this is a good thing. I fully think that you shouldn't just be able to throw grenades all willy-nilly. I think that, like, you shouldn't... you should be able to have to depend on your guns because it is a looter shooter. It isn't, it isn't a wizard game. I mean, even though we're space wizards, as many people like to believe. Medieval champion. Glaives you wield fire a powerful explosive payload that stuns unshielded combatants. Strong against unstoppable champions. Additionally, glaives are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Landing consecutive hits with a sword disrupts combatants, stunning them, delaying ability energy regeneration, and lowering combatant damage output. Strong against overload champions. I actually really like this. I like being able to use a sword against overloads. I can't tell you how happy I am about this because I love whipping out. I can already think about it. Like if I'm running medieval champion with my falling guillotine, and then you go and you do void weapons challenging. And I mean, I feel like another thing, and a kind of a side note, something that I just thought of, is that they got rid of match game. Now, the thing about that is that allows you to have more of these specific builds for end game, PvE. So you're not going to have to worry about, I'm not going to be able to run this at all because, I need solar and arc, I need solar and arc for the GM type of thing because match game was always, an automatic modifier. But yeah, looking at this, I mean, it's really, I really like the way that they're going with these. And they're giving more of these multiple facets of things. Because, I mean, the thing about this is that you could easily run, I mean, I guess interesting enough, you could run a glaive and a sword. And then you could run, obviously, unstoppable, you could run unstoppable, or glaive unstoppable, overlord sword, and then I don't know, you could run like a revision 0 for your barrier as your primary, and theoretically you're just gonna have kind of a juggernaut triple champion loadout that isn't costing you a lot, because like in the past when you would do like a triple champion loadout, it'd be like, oh yeah, you're so funneled into what weapons you can use, and this just kind of opens up the fact that you're gonna be able to, I guess, do solo GMs, that are going to be harder than ever, but you're going to be able to make builds that are adequate to beat those. Just kind of a perspective thing with how they're moving forward with PvE. Now for the last mod, Prismatic Transfer. When you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a subclass damage type different than yours gains a bonus to weapon damage. With a subclass damage type. So I'm assuming that it's gonna be like if you're running well or something, you're gonna want your hunters, you're not gonna want them on Blade Barrage, you're gonna want them on Arc, or you're gonna want them on Void, or maybe even Stasis or Strand, depending. And I mean, obviously this is probably going to affect more so Warlocks than anything else, because I mean, Well is still set to be very good. I mean, we haven't gotten through this the whole way to see if they, touched it at all, but you're going to run Well Lock in most things for damage and for, safety, and then you're going to be running something else, as any other class. You might even, depending, you might even run like one Well Lock, and then you might run one Void Lock, or, Strand Lock, because it looks like their super's going to do a good amount of damage. But let's see. New ways to defeat champions. I'm sure they're going to talk about some other things. In our Build Crafting Evolved article, we stated that there will be new ways to counter champions in Lightfall. After showcasing the seasonal weapons you'll use to do so, maybe we should also refresh that information and throw in one or two more details, right? You can use an exotic and an anti-champion intrinsic perk. Ariana's Vow, Divinity, or Leviathan's Breath are 3 examples. You can use weapons that have an anti-champion artifact perk. You can use the following subclass verb and status effects. Barrier champions are radiant, volatile, and unraveling rounds. So yeah, they had mentioned that we were going to get Strand, but obviously unraveling is like, I'm assuming it's going to be kind of like when they go volatile, where it's a status effect on them and it does something a little bit different. Overload champions are Jolt, Suppression, and Slow. So you got Stasis, Void, and Arc here. Unstoppable champions. Ignite, Blind, Shatter, and Suspend. So Suspend we know is also a strand thing. Shatter is obviously like you're going to have to freeze them. So, Ice Bolt grenades. The tracking ones will be really good for Unstoppable. The verbs work no matter how they are triggered. 2 examples. If you are radiant because a Solar Hunter used an acrobatic dodge near you, you will shoot anti-barrier rounds until radiant wears off. Making more utility for each class as well. So you're not just spamming abilities to clear. You can use abilities for anti-champion, which is nice. If you use a weapon with the Chill Clip perk, the slow effect upon direct hits will stun Overload champions, and the Shatter upon a second hit will stun Unstoppables. While Radiant, though, the same weapon would pierce a barrier champions, but not stun Overloads. Exotics with an anti-champion status effect won't get the pierce effect when applying Radiant. Okay, so they're not allowing us to still double stack on these exotics that already have, which makes sense. It would just make them way too overpowered and way too easy. Like, imagine if you could run Wish Ender, obviously, and you could just, essentially have all of these different effects on it, I guess. I guess Wish Ender isn't a good example. It only really does barrier, and what kind of buff do you have? I guess you can't blind. You can't really, Wish Ender is not a good one, but you can't double stack. There's no exception for weapons able to scorch, since ignitions require build up in order to stun. So they're talking about right here, the scout rifle. Why can't I remember its name? The Cabal scout rifle. Let me see here. Why can't I see? Am I losing my mind? Where is it? So they're talking about, Skyburner's Oath. So obviously this weapon, and penetrates phalanx shields, but you look at this. When you're aiming down the sights, a little fast and straight. When you're firing from above, the explosion is larger and applies Scorch, to the target. So, Skyburners could be really fun. I know that obviously with Skyburners you can apply Scorch, but then obviously you have Overload Scout as well this season. So you could have some fun. You could have some fun with Skyburners this season, honestly, because of this. Will slow and stun an Overload champ, but not pierce a barrier one, even if the player is radiant. So, yeah, Aegir's Scepter might actually be really good because, it's pretty easy to freeze things with it. And, the ammo economy for traces is really high. So you just, you're not going to have to worry about ammo economy on these. Gosh, I can't English today. But there's an exception for weapons. Okay, so we just read that. Become Legend. Whether you're a solo player or in a full fire team, there's no wrong way to play the Lightfall campaign. We know you all love the legendary difficulty that debuted with the Witch Queen, so we wanted to talk a bit about how it will work in Lightfall. With the goal of balancing challenge and survivability across all fire team sizes, 1 to 3, legendary difficulty scales based on the size of your fire team. Incoming damage required to stagger an enemy health, and the amount of revives are a few of the things that scale on legendary for each additional member of your fire team. In the Lightfall campaign, we reduced the health scaler on combatants to better balance solo and fire team play when compared to last year's legendary campaign. Enemies will still have more overall health than larger fire teams, and the Cabal in general have higher base health than other combatant factions, because they're thick-skinned, you guys, obviously. But this will help bring solo and fire team difficulty closer together. Additionally, the damage required to stagger combatants is reduced during the Lightfall campaign. Make no mistake, the Shadow Legion and their new technology are extremely formidable foes, and we're not even going to talk about Tormentors. So eyes up, Guardian, because it won't be easy. I like this. Free Throne World tours. This weekend we're making all the content included with the Witch Queen Standard Edition available for free. Here's the exact timing. Start February 23rd at 9 a.m. PST. So that started at reset today, if anybody's wondering. And Xbox February 26th at 11:59 PST. PlayStation, Steam, Microsoft Store, and Epic Games Store February 27th at 9 a.m. PST. Interesting. I don't know why, I guess. What is this? So the 26th. This doesn't really matter too much. Like, I mean, the thing is that Lightfall is obviously going to come. It's going to be offline for 24 hours. So, like, you're only losing in on 9 hours of play, I guess. You know, but I guess I don't know why they're doing it that way. Maybe it has something to do with Xbox. I have no idea. For Xbox players with Xbox Live Gold or Game Pass members, you can visit the Witch Queen campaign page on their platform store to claim access. For PlayStation, Steam, Epic Games, and Microsoft Store players, all you have to do is log into the game and the Witch Queen will be available. So interesting. I mean, Xbox, they obviously have to do some sort of licensing thing, I'm assuming, but whatever. If you want to check out this amazing legendary campaign, the Vox Obscura Exotic Mission, a few Wellspring runs, or try the Vow of the Disciple raid, you totally can. All the loot you earn will be yours to keep. By the way, and you don't have to download any additional content. The Witch Queen Standard Edition will just unlock on your installed game. Because, yeah, they can't have a game, really, without it having been fully installed. Too many glitches. Similar situation with Beyond Light, since this expansion is still available for free to PlayStation Plus subscribers. Go fight House Salvation and their leader Aramis while traveling across Europa's frozen landscapes and get a hold on Stasis, the first Darkness-based subclass, just in time before Strand, the second one, launches with Lightfall. They are calling Strand Darkness, but they have not said. Oh my gosh. The only qualm I have with this is they were saying that Strand doesn't come from the pyramids, so it's another darkness source. Like, that's another kind of Easter egg that, like, who the heck knows? Like, maybe we're gonna see something else in Lightfall besides the obvious players of Callus and the Whisperer. You know, and it's like, I don't know, interesting. Prime Gaming Rewards reminder goes away on the 27th. Guys have until Monday to claim it. The downtime, 9 a.m. PST on February 27th, which is Monday, guys. Monday right here. And ongoing activities will end. Players will be returned to the title screen. Preloading for Lightfall on all platforms will become available. So you'll be able to download it, you guys, before the next day. Because I know that download times are sometimes funny if it's completely swamped, type of thing. But players will be able to log back in once downtime concludes at 9 a.m. PST, February 28th. Because this is the launch time. This is reset time, guys. I know that for me, myself, I am going to be doing a 24-hour stream. At least 24 hours. I've actually thought about going higher, to be honest, as crazy as that sounds. But I am planning to go online at 9 a.m. Mountain time, because that's where I am, so that we can kind of BS chat, eagerly await the drop, for an hour, kind of just chill out. I'm probably not going to be talking much or doing anything like that, but the stream will be live at 9 a.m. Mountain, and then we'll be playing Witch Queen at 10. Preload storage requirements. Players seeking information on Destiny 2's updated storage requirements post-Lightfall should view our Destiny platform storage requirements article. During the 24-hour downtime leading up to live launch, we'll be unable to claim and purchase Bungie rewards. All expiring Season 19 and Witch Queen Bungie rewards must be earned and claimed by the beginning of downtime. So, I mean, technically speaking, we have, 6 days, or, that for this last week, because it's going down on technically reset on the final day. Claim your rewards, seals, season pass, vendor rewards, Shack Zavala, Drifter, and Saint 14 rewards, and then Banshee reputation items. These will all just go away. Some people I have heard have actually thought that they will carry over. They will not carry over. Do not be a fool. If you don't care, then yeah, leave them in there. But I mean, if you've got like 100 or so legendary shards and you're short on legendary shards, you should claim them. Just claim them and dismantle them and chill or something. Cross-save setup. Players who plan on playing Lightfall while utilizing the cross-save system should ensure that their cross-save setups have been fully linked and activated before they log into Lightfall for the first time. Doing so will help ensure that any purchased season passes and dungeons keys are applied to the intended player account. Legacy Collection update. Alongside the launch of Lightfall on February 28th, we will be making an adjustment to the Legacy Collection. The current Legacy Collection containing the Forsaken Pack, Shadowkeep, and Beyond Light will be retired from our platform stores and replaced by the Legacy Collection 2023. This updated collection will contain the Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen expansions. The Forsaken Pack will still be available as its own separate content pack. That's really strange. I wonder why Forsaken is still by itself. I don't know what to think about that. Known issues. While we continue investigating various known issues, here is a list of latest issues that are reported. The most recent update on every game launch. That sucks. We are continuing to investigate reports of a weasel still. Goodness. Maybe only launching the playlist. Okay. These are kind of the known issues that have been going around. Like these last two, these have been in like 2 TWABs straight at least. Probably 3 if I am remembering correctly. Xbox players re-download really suck. But yeah, that's kind of it for the TWAB. I guess let's look through here really quick. Interesting. A fly through the galaxy. I regret nothing. He put Callus on front of a tank here. Okay. That's really funny, to be honest with you. In honor of Emperor's Revere, here's a classic Callus needle felt sculpture. This actually looks, this looks cool. This is really, really cool and well done, to be honest with you. I'm a mess. What a week, huh? Drifter, it is Wednesday. They show the dog! The dog! Yes! Thank God. I'm glad the dog isn't going away. We need a good woofo around the tower. That's it for the week. What is this? Is this another? Oh. Nice cat. I don't know whose cat that is. Nice cat. Big love to all the teams. Another cat. We know that there's a cat like near Zavala's office, in Zavala's office. So I mean, maybe there are a bunch of cat lovers at, Bungie. Oh, this guy's a programmer? How come the game's not better if this guy's the one managing our game? I'm just going to say it. Why in the world would this guy not, be able to work as hard, and he even has a mic. You can hear him meow on stream or something. But amazing. Amazing TWAB. I am still really eager, the artifact. I'm glad they kind of gave us the artifact mods because obviously, one of the major things with this season is the new build crafting, and they obviously want to encourage us to build craft and that sort of thing. But I'm going to end the video with that. This week at Bungie Spectacular, a couple of the things I guess I noticed. They're keeping... they're making more weapons viable, I feel like, with, being able to do volatile slow and that sort of thing. And to me, stasis weapons are just going to get even more powerful, especially chill clip ones, like Riptide, obviously. Riptide comes to mind because it's, if you don't have one, try to get an auto-loading chill clip, and then you can have 7 in the mag, which means 3... Is it 3 or 4 shots? I can't even remember. I believe it's 4 shots because it's once it goes beneath 50%. It's once it goes beneath 50% that you don't have chill clip anymore. So, try to get a Riptide. If you have a bunch of Crucible Ingrams and you don't have one, spend your shards and get into Riptide for yourself. But amazing TWAB. I'm going to end this video recording with that. It was